Hannah, have you been to a concert that I haven't been at?
Wait, let me think.
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I'm pretty sure I've only ever gone to concerts with me and then mom, right?
Yeah, that's right, because up until 2 years ago, I had only been to 2 concerts in my life.
Yeah.
And then I doubled that in like a span of a couple weeks to a month with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think every concert I've been to has been with you and or slash mom.
Okay. My first concert was also your first concert.
Yes.
We went and saw Train and Maroon 5. Keep in mind, this was Maroon 5 before they became a computer Maroon 5. I was trying to come up with a funny thing, and I can't think that hard right now.
Yeah, this was Maroon 5 like Sunday morning era.
A little, it was like Moves Like Jagger era.
Okay.
And Train was in their Hey Soul Sister phase, and then they disappeared forever. Essentially. I haven't heard anything from Train in, like 10 years, probably when we went to that concert.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think my second concert was also your second concert. I think it might have been my third concert.
Okay. Yeah, I got tickets for my birthday to go see Carrie Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
And Alyssa got to come with me as like a birthday gift. But yeah, that was my second.
Yeah, I think that might have been my third. I went to a concert with some friends in high school before that. And then I had a string of concert experiences. Like, I probably went to 15 in, like, 2 to 3 years. Like, a music festival, just, like, a large spree. And then, right before the pandemic, in the, like, a 6-month period before the pandemic, we went to 2 concerts. Pretty close together.
A coworker of mine was like, hey, I have these Jonas Brothers tickets, which me and Alyssa said if you had told us in middle school we would have gone and seen a Jonas Brothers concert as 20-something-year-olds, we would have, like, laughed in your face.
Oh, I would have been so upset and aghast to hear that.
She had really good seats, and she's like, they're in, Grand Rapids. She's like, my friend can't go. I don't want to waste this money. She couldn't, like, get money back on them because she didn't purchase the whatever. And she offered me for, like, $20 a ticket or something like that. It was pretty cheap. Yeah, and then after that, Alyssa got me tickets for my birthday to one of my favorite bands, We the Kings, and Simple Plan was with them, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was a fun concert.
Yeah, it was fun. It was kind of in a small venue, also in Grand Rapids as well, weirdly. But yeah, and then right around that time, I got tickets to see Billy Joel for my birthday, and you and me and our mom were going to go. And then tragedy would strike in the form of a pandemic. And now that concert has been delayed for 2 years.
At least.
So maybe, at least. But I did see an article today. Billy Joel performed live for the first time since the pandemic. He lost 50 pounds. So he's doing good. He's in good health. I have high hopes that he will be performing next summer.
Let's hope.
But please, like, I keep forgetting that it's a birthday present. Because one time I was thinking, like, what did I get for my birthday? Because it was for my 25th birthday. And then I can't remember because it was that. And I haven't gotten to go yet.
Yeah, because me and Mom neither of us got you anything because I helped Mom pay for them.
Yeah.
And we were so excited. Like, I was so excited when I came up with the idea because I told my mom, I said, Billy Joel's going to be in Michigan. He hadn't been in Michigan.
He rarely performs outside of New York.
Right.
But in 2020, he was supposed to perform at, I think, like 5 or 6 venues outside of New York.
Yeah.
One being Detroit.
Yes. And so we were super, like, excited about it. We bought the tickets. We told you about it because we had to make sure you didn't, like, plan anything for it, like, during that week.
Of course.
And then, yeah, it got pushed back, and then it got pushed back again.
And that leads us to now, which is another sadly failed concert attempt. I have been trying to see the Killers in concert for, like, almost 10 years at this point. They were one of the bands I got into really early, like, when I had an iPod. And I started to, like, buy my own music, other than, like, things that my parents listened to or, good old Kelly Clarkson, Avril Lavigne, Pink, that era. The Killers were one of the first bands that, like, I got into. And we were maybe going to go see them in high school, and then that didn't work out. And then in college, I went to this music festival in Detroit called Mopop, and Brandon Flowers, the lead singer of the Killers, was performing, and he usually performs some Killer songs. So I'm like, oh, great. I can at least get a little bit of it. And then it, like, thunderstormed and, like, was pouring rain, and they kicked a bunch of people out, and so we left. And then they were like, oh, just kidding, he's performing. So I missed it because we left. So that system didn't work well. And then he was going to perform again in Windsor, but it was the day I was coming back from my study abroad where I had been overseas for a month, and I'm like, there is no way I can make it to a concert at nighttime in Windsor when I've been in an 8-hour, like 6 to 8 hour time difference. So that fell through again. And now Hannah had told me, she said, do you have any plans this date?
Yeah, I was super excited because I saw the Killers were going on tour, and they were going to be in Detroit, and I was like, this is perfect. So I told Alyssa to kind of keep that weekend open. I bought the tickets, made it so you could get, like, a refund, bought the insurance on them. And then my aunt texted us, and she's like, oh, your cousin's getting married. This is the date, like, just so you have it.
Save the date.
Save the date for next year. As soon as I saw that date, I had this feeling. I was like, that's the day of the Killers concert. I just know it.
It's funny because I also had a feeling. I was like, I feel like I have something on that date. And then you texted me.
Yeah. And so it was the same exact date. I was like, well, that sucks. We were trying to see, like, what other venues they were going to be at. Because I told Alyssa about it at this point because I was like, you know, obviously we're not going. So, like, they were going to be in Ohio, which the wedding was going to be in Ohio the night before. But I was like, do we really want to go to a concert and then have to go, like, drive that night or the next morning for a wedding? Like, probably not. Yeah, so we're not totally 100% not going. We just have to maybe see if there's another city we can go to.
Yes, there's a couple cities that potentially could work for a weekend.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The universe just really does not want me to see the Killers.
No.
Just doesn't want it to happen. They just don't want me to enjoy live music.
No.
Because considering Billy Joel's been delayed.
And then...
and then, yeah.
I really wanted to go see Fletcher. You know, I told Alyssa, I was like, oh, she's going to be in Detroit. And Alyssa's like, oh. And then she's like, oh, do you want to go for your birthday? And I was like, perfect. She released her tickets within, like, 4 hours. The entire tour had sold out. Not just Detroit. Yeah. Like, everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, okay, great. I'll look into it, like, tomorrow after work. And then you texted me the next day and were like, the tickets already sold out. I didn't even know she was, like, they were going on sale today. And I was like, oh, well... Great. Fantastic.
They even moved the venue to a bigger venue, and she still sold out really quick, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, we're trying. We're not thriving, but who really is at this point?
I don't know. I don't believe people who say they are.
Yeah, no, they're lying.
They are lying to themselves.
We're all black holes inside right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, cheers to eternal happiness and misery.
Tip of the tongue, teeth of the lips. Ma. You gonna say anything, or are you just gonna laugh?
Welcome.
This is Research Rank Repeat. I'm one of your co-hosts, Alyssa.
This is co-host Hannah.
If you couldn't tell by my horrible, horrible singing and not well thought out or executed intro, we're going back to music.
Going back to our bread and butter? I don't know if I know what bread and butter means in that context.
It's like, I don't even.
Do you? I don't know.
It's just an expression.
Yeah.
It's like our bread and butter. Maybe it's like because you know what bread and butter is. Like, you know what it's going to taste like. It doesn't matter what the bread or the butter is.
I always thought it was like back to the basics.
Yeah, maybe.
Roots, the thing that started us.
Yeah, the thing that started us, we love a good music and we love a good ranking. And this is an idea I came up with, trying to brainstorm ideas for a period of time. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of revisit something we had done previously. But essentially, Hannah and I each gave each other 3 artists that we liked, that the other person was not very familiar with. They may have heard like a song or two, or like knew the artist, but not really had heard through all the discography stuff. So our job was to take the 3 artists given to us and then pick, I think, 10 songs and like rank our top 10 songs of those artists. But anyway, I really liked that idea, and I was thinking about things we could do with music, and I thought it would be cool to take an artist's one album and just have the other person rank that album.
Yeah, and we actually, ahead of time, we recorded us revealing it to each other.
Yes, we did this about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we would have time to prepare, but we wanted to just document our
live reaction to it.
Yes, the reaction to our artist and what we were going to be listening to. Mm-hmm. And so that will play now, or it'll have already played, whatever I decide to do, because I'm editing this one. We'll see. It'll be a real treat. This is a little bit weird for us in the way we usually do things with recording, but we are recording this small segment that will a few weeks before we actually will record this episode.
Yeah, so we thought it'd be better to capture this moment live. This is the first time we're revealing this to each other. We wanted to rank like an album of sorts, and we didn't really know how to do it, and then Alyssa came up with a genius idea.
Thank you.
And said, what if we each picked an album that the other person hasn't listened to? Maybe they've heard a song or two off that album, but they haven't listened to all the way through by an artist maybe they're not super familiar with. And then you have to rank all the songs in that album, and then we're also going to rank the album we picked as well, just to compare each other's. We both picked an album for each other. We do have a backup just in case. So we are going to reveal.
We are going to reveal.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm a little worried that Alyssa may have introduced me to this artist.
Yes.
Although I have a shitty memory, so maybe I'm just remembering wrong. This is a female solo artist.
Okay.
She is from Australia.
All right.
And she started around, I think, 2010, 2011. I would consider her in like the pop / electronic EDM music. Kind of gives me a Churches vibe.
All right.
We'll see if you know.
Okay.
Nothing?
I don't recognize it. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Nothing about it is familiar to me.
And honestly, that's one of her more popular songs.
Yeah.
So this is Betty Who.
Okay, I've heard of the artist, but I'm not familiar.
Okay, and the album I'm going to have you listen to is it's called Take Me When You Go.
Okay.
It was, I think maybe her first album that came out.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly don't remember. I started listening to her probably, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now that I know it wasn't you who introduced me to her, I'm thinking it was from someone I followed on Twitter or like had posted something, and I just like found her music. But yeah, she's like, it gives me sort of like a Churches vibes a little bit. I'll tell you what my backup was.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna maybe have you do Fletcher's album,
Okay.
You Ruined New York for me, but it's only like 6 songs.
Okay. And I have actually heard quite a bit of her music.
I was thinking you probably had. And then my backup for that was going to be the album Diamonds by the artist Johnny Swim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I figured this is the one you would probably like the most style-wise.
Okay, yes. My artist is someone I discovered relatively recently, within the last year. She is a solo artist. She is someone I've discussed with you before. I'm hoping you did not go and listen to her music after you went and listened to her music.
No, I think I have an idea of who it might be.
Okay, so here is the title song of her debut studio album, which came out last year. You got anything?
I honestly thought it was going to be Doja Cat.
Okay.
Or those 2 girls.
City Girls.
City Girls.
City Girls. Okay.
So when you played that, I was not expecting that.
I thought about it. I thought about City Girls, but The artist's name is Rina Sawayama. Her debut album is called Sawayama after her last name. I discovered a song of hers last year that I liked and started put on a playlist, and then I was like I wonder what else this artist has, because I just had heard the one song, and so I listened to this album and I was like, oh, okay. And so she has a very pop-esque sound to her. She said that she draws inspiration from the early 2000s, like Christina Aguilera. She's a Japanese-British singer, actress, and model, I think.
Okay.
So,
okay, nice. Well, that's good. We didn't have to use our backups. What were your backups?
So I had one main backup. It's this artist known as Beach Bunny. She is very much like it's mainly like storytelling. She has a song with Tegan and Sarah, like a remix of a version.
Cool. So that's that.
All right. Or we'll be back with you when we record. See you then.
Catch you on the flip side.
I had to do it. Yeah, of course. I was thinking about how we recorded that ahead of time, and that was stuck in my head.
I mean, we are recording this.
Yes, we are recording this. Is it live? Is it live, Hannah?
It's live.
Yeah, okay. So, you now know what artists we have. We know what artists we have. We're going to be going through, and we're going to just be covering one album at a time, one artist and one album. We're going to cover one of them first, all the songs, rank them, and then we're going to move on to the next one. As Hannah pointed out, the only way we can decide who goes first is to do rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
So we're going to do that now.
Best 2 out of 3.
Best 2 out of 3.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. It's so delayed. I can't see. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Rock,
paper,
scissors. Shoot.
Oh, okay. You won.
All right. So what we've learned is there is enough of a delay on Zoom that we cannot accurately do rock, paper, scissors in real time.
So you get to pick if you would like to do which album you'd like to do first.
I would like you to go first. So my artist to you.
Okay.
We'll cover them first.
All right. So you're going to do some background.
I am. I have some background. So the artist and album I gave you is her name is Rina Sawayama. Her album is called Sawayama. It was released in 2020. So just to give a little bit of a background about the artist. So she is a Japanese-British singer, songwriter, and model. She was born in 1990 in Japan, and her family moved to London at the age of when she was at 5 years old. So she initially started in a Japanese school, and then by middle school she was in an all-English middle school. So a lot of her music is represented by her feelings of like assimilation and integration, and not integration. I don't know what I said there. And not really feeling like she fits in, or not really knowing how she belongs. Her parents went through like a really messy divorce around that age when she was a teenager, and she also dealt with her sexual identity and, struggled between being this like good studios kid and also really liking like going clubbing and things like that and music. So she ended up going to Cambridge, where she graduated a degree in political science. At Cambridge, she formed a hip-hop group with someone named Theo Ellis, who is of the band Wolf Alice now. So was doing musical things with people in the industry. She released her first single in 2013 called Sleeping While Waking that got some attention. She released an EP in 2017 called Rena, which that got more attention from labels, and she was signed to Dirty Hit in 2019, which produced her debut album. Backing up a little bit, she released a single in, I believe it was 2017 or 2018, called Cherry, which was actually the first song that I heard of hers that like got me into her. And so it basically serves as her like coming out as like, she identifies as bisexual or pansexual. So she's really heavily influenced by like teen pop of the early 2000s, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Destiny's Child. She also takes some inspiration from the likes of like Avril Lavigne, Evanescence, Lady Gaga, and an artist, I didn't look up the pronunciation of her name, Hikaru Utada. I didn't look her up, so I'm not sure. I think she's a Japanese musician. And so the only other thing of interesting of note is that she was upset to learn that she was ineligible for a large amount of British awards for her album because she is not a British-born citizen. Like, she was not born in the UK, so therefore she didn't qualify for British awards, which got a lot of attention and eventually gained a lot of support when Elton John was supporting her and speaking about it. Eventually, she would record one of her songs from her album. She would re-record it with him. So he features on her deluxe version of this album. And eventually they changed the ruling so it allows anyone who's lived in, I believe it's anyone who's lived in Britain for at least 10 years can qualify for this awards. Those are the main noteworthy things about her. The album is called, again, I've said it like 800 times, but her debut album, which is Sawayama, was released in April of 2020. There released a deluxe version of the album in December of 2020, but I wanted you to listen to the first version, which has 13 songs. So Hannah is now going to go through and rank the 13 songs on this album. What do you think would be better to talk about as a whole? Maybe first.
I think first.
I think give your general oversights first, and then you can go into specifics.
Yeah. So I had never heard any of the songs on this album. Like I said, I never heard of the artist until Alyssa. Well, you had mentioned her like a month or two before.
When we went on our trip to Nashville, I mentioned her. It's about a month before.
Right. And it was really interesting to listen to the album the first time through because I was like, oh, you hear the first song of an album and you can kind of get a feel for where the album will go. That's how it generally works. And then the second song plays and I'm like, okay, maybe we're shifting gears. And then the third song plays and I'm like, okay, I don't know where we're going. It was really interesting though. And like a lot of artists will do different styles, but they'll do them on different albums. Like Lady Gaga, for example, who we did, like every album is like a different style, but she sticks to it within the songs. And so it was super interesting, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was really creative. I thought a lot of the, like, production and, like, vocal choices were really cool. I don't mind that she did so many different, like, styles and genres. I don't know if people have an issue with that, but I personally don't. I think that's cool. And I thought one of the things I enjoyed the most was, like, the transitions between songs is so smooth. Like, it's maybe one of the best I've heard on an album. But yeah, it's one of my favorite albums I've heard in, like, is a collective album. It's probably one of my favorites I've heard in a long time, to be honest. It was great.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it when we talked, when I revealed this to you, that I think this, like, she's my artist of 2021, for sure. Yeah. Like, I know this album came out last year, but I think I heard Cherry last year, but I didn't get into this album until maybe in the early winter is the first time I had actually listened to her full album. And I agree, it was very kind of surprising in a way to hear all the different types of... You can clearly hear, there is one song the first time I heard it that I was like, this feels like 90s Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. I'm like, this is that feel. And like, it really emulates that on a lot of her songs. You can hear the influences, but then there's also a lot of really creative choices that are just very unique and don't really have like a specific influence. So I thought the production was really well done as well. I would agree with that.
Yeah, the last note I just had is like she has a lot of really interesting, I guess what I would call like bridges. I don't know if they're always bridges, but a lot of like modern music's kind of forgotten, like they just kind of don't do bridges anymore. And she actually, like, most of her songs do, and those were some of my favorite parts of her songs, were, like, those bridges, like, going into the second to last or last chorus. Yeah, so that was my last note.
I wouldn't say there's a bad song on this album. Mm-hmm. I think there are songs that are certainly stronger than other songs, but I genuinely enjoy all the songs on this album, and I had a really hard time ranking my songs, even though this wasn't, like, I've already heard this album, like, 10 times.
Yeah. I think that's why I switched it so much because, like, we've really only known for, like, 2 to 3 weeks about these albums, so it's hard to, like, I wanted to try and listen through a couple times to get a good feel, but every time I listen through, I change my order. So I'm like, all right, we'll see how this goes. Okay, so that, number 13, it's Fuck This World, it's an interlude. I think this song was good. I think, though, it's just meant to be, like, a transition piece. It's got like a cool vibe, but I think the fact that it is like, to me, feels just like almost like a filler transition piece. I don't think I could put it higher for that aspect.
Yeah, I ranked this as number 12 on my list, so very similar to your ranking.
All right, so number 12 was, hold on.
Comme des garçons.
Okay, Like the Boys.
Yes.
I do really like this song, but this is a song that I feel like if I were out at a club would be a really good dance song. The problem was I was listening to this song alone, like by myself, and I was like, I couldn't get into it as much as I would have had I been with like a group of people. I feel like this one gives me like a Lady Gaga vibe a little bit. I love how smooth her voice sounds, and I think it's got a really great beat, but I do think it gets a little bit repetitive and I get lost kind of in the beat of the song as opposed to actually like listening to it.
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to rank this song very high just because I know what kind of music you like. So just because I was curious and I looked it up, Comme des Garçons is the name of a Japanese fashion brand that translates into English like the boys. So I ranked that number 5 on my list because I danced and like that is it's a dance hit. Like you can feel it, but I totally understand, you know, not being in that environment, how it would rank lower on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think if I went out to a club and this song came on, it would go higher up on my list because it feels like one of those songs that you would just be able to like dance to. All right, number 11, I did Who's Gonna Save You Now. To me, this is like more of like gives me more of like a Paramore rock vibe a little bit. I like being able to hear the drums like really like they're just going hard on those drums. I think my problem with this song is like, to me, the chorus is one of the weakest of all of her songs on the album. And I like the second half of the song a lot more than the first half. Like, I think it takes me a while to get to the point where I like the song a lot, that for me, that drops it down.
So I really like this song. I have it as number 4 on my list. And I think you're right when you said it kind of sounds Paramore. It's very pop punk. And I love me some pop punk. So I like kept trying to figure out where to rank this one, and I wasn't sure, and then it kept just moving up my list and ended up at 4th. So I agree. I do agree, though. I think the second half is better than the first.
Yeah. All right, so number 10 is Snakeskin. So this is the last song on her album. Mm-hmm. And I'm always curious to see how artists choose to end their albums. I think like she does some really interesting vocal things. But it's almost like it's weird because the whole song feels like it's building towards like a battle. Like it kind of builds the whole time. I like the changing up of speeds. I think the song's really cool. It's different. You know, it like breaks down at one point. I really enjoyed that. I just think that because I didn't really listen to the words of this song, but I don't think the point is to like listen to the words, at least in my opinion. It was more just like what was going on around the song. And I really do like the piano part at the end, which I think is cool. But for some reason, this song just kept like, when I was making my list, it just kept falling each time. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, I don't know. Because I like the song. It just, for some reason, it kept falling.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Your 10, 11, 12 were my 4, 5, and 6. So Snakeskin I put as number 6. And I think it works really interesting as a final song of an album. Because again, it feels like you're building to something and then the album ends. So that's it. But I really like it. I really like the style she does in it. You know, she gets kind of like, has a lot of range and does a lot of like interesting things with it. So that's why I ranked it higher. That one, like, comes to mind. So when I was ranking yours, is I, like, listened to it once, and then I was like, okay, what do I remember? Like, what are the things that I, like, stand out to me when I listen to the second time? I can be like, oh, this.
Yeah. All right, number 9, Paradising. I love how at the beginning, like, the intro, the chorus plays super lightly, and then I think it's got, like, another great beat. The chorus is super addictive to me. And when I listened to the album, that was like one of the choruses that stuck in my head. It kind of gives me like a video game, like anime vibe almost, like with the background. But I think to me it's like I don't think it does as much during the verses where it kept me hooked. Like I was waiting for the chorus almost the whole song.
Yeah, so I rank this as number 7, so kind of close to where you put it. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think the chorus is really catchy. Like, it's one of the catchiest choruses on this album. I think why I really like it a lot is because the song's all about, like, thinking back on your youth, like, this, like, freedom and independence you had at, like, your teenage years. It's fun. Like, it kind of reminds me of, like, Avril Lavigne. It kind of has that sort of Avril Lavigne vibe, and I think that's why I like it a lot.
Yeah, I wrote, gives me an Avril vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. All right, number 8 is Chosen Family. The beginning was giving me, like, Owl City vibes, like, the instrumentation. I think this is interesting because it's one of her only songs, or maybe only song on this album, where she stays slow the entire song. And I wrote that this song, it sounded like Flashlights by Jessie J from Pitch Perfect 2. And I like that. I like to hear her vocals in this way with not a lot of instrumentation and just to get like to hear how talented she is as a vocalist, because I knew she had a really good voice when I was listening to the album, but this was a song where I was like, oh, like she has a really, really good voice, like because her vocals really do shine through. The reason it's a little bit lower is because I think the like bridge section, and I think the length of it, like I almost wish she went one less chorus, because towards the end I was like looking to see how much time was left, which I don't love to do that during songs. Like I would rather just listen to a song and like enjoy the whole time. Like I just listened to All Too Well, the 10-minute version off of Taylor Swift's Red, and I like didn't check the time I didn't check the time. So that's the only reason why I put it a little bit lower, but I think this song like really does highlight her vocals, and she's an amazing singer.
So I put the song as number 11. So this is the song she recorded with Elton John. So she did a version of this with Elton John for her deluxe album, and I think hearing that, I like that version a little better, which is why I think this one kind of ended up lower on my list. But I agree. It really highlights her vocals. It feels almost like a Lady Gaga ballad in a way. Or like Kesha, like a Kesha ballad kind of deal, where you can like really hear like the vocal range and like how good that she is of a singer. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said.
All right, number 7, Love Me For Me. I love the lyrics of this song. Like, love it. It's giving me like a slow like 2000s R&B vibe. It almost reminds me a little bit of JoJo in a way, some of her like songs she made. I think the instrumentation is nice. There's like a cool guitar solo in it. But again, it's like it's a song that I want to like more, and I don't know why, because I think it's got a lot of really good elements to it. But there's, like, one thing missing from the song, and I don't know what it is, but I think if it had, like, one extra thing, this might have been, like, one of my top 3 songs.
It's interesting you say that. This is my number 1 song. I love this song. Yeah, Love Me For Me is number 1. So, when I first listened to this album, this is the song that hooked me, where I was like, I'm in. The way it builds, that it's, like, starts kind of slow, and then, like, the tempo picks up, and the beat kicks in, and it feels like straight out of the 90s, early 2000s R&B. It feels very Christina Aguilera. Like, this is the song that I'm like, I can see like those like Destiny's Child, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears influences. For me, a lot of the times, because I used to dance, like a song that I can hear and I can see like the movement of, usually is really high for me, like usually hooks me really quickly. This is one of those songs. I don't think this is her best song, but it's my favorite song, so that's why it's number 1.
I kind of had a feeling it was going to be, like, your number 1 or 2, because as soon as I heard the song, I go, oh, I bet Alyssa loves this song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, that is a song that I'm like, I am here for.
Okay. All right, number 6 is Excess.
Excess.
So this one very much gives me like a 2000s pop girl group vibe. I was thinking like Cheetah Girls for a minute there. I was like, this is like kind of Cheetah Girls-esque. I love the beat. I love the backing vocals. I love just the general feeling of this song. I think this is a song that, like, I would have loved when I was younger, and I still think it's a really good song. And I think it's interesting because when I first listened to it, I was like, is she, like, gloating, or is she making a point about, like,
You should watch the music video.
Okay, yep, I'm getting to it.
Yeah, okay.
Or is she talking about, like, what's the word? What is the word? Capitalism.
Capitalism, yeah.
And then I found the music video, and I was like, oh, she's making a point, basically, about capitalism.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting song. I think just the vibe of it's really cool, and this is a song that, like, I would put on, like, any playlist when I'm driving in my car, just, like, jam out to it.
Yeah, so this song I ranked number 3, Excess, on my list. And so this, just so you know, is her most popular song. At least in views on Spotify, probably her most well-known, I would say. I agree. It feels like the vibe is, like, when she starts singing, it's like I'm like Christina Aguilera, you know? Or, like, yeah, like girl group, early girl groups, like 2000s, Destiny Child, that kind of vibe. The backing, like, the intro's really interesting. Like, it's kind of got this, like, almost Bollywood, like, you know, type deal going on to start, and then it, like, hits really hard and then starts. And I agree. I think, like, even with the accompaniment of the music video, I think it's really, really good.
All right, so number 5, I put Dynasty. It was interesting because the first time I listened to the album, I actually had this song, like, lower. And then I kept listening to it, and I was like, you know what? It's actually, like, it's a really great way to start the album. Like, I love the way it builds. It feels like a super powerful song. I love the bridge part with the background vocals. I love how her vocals, like, soar over the music and the production. And I just, like, love the intensity. I think it's, like, a really smart song. And I think it was, like, the right choice for the first song on the album because it really does, like... It's weird because I feel like it sets the tone... Maybe not for the style or, like, the genre, but, like, the intensity of the album, so to speak.
Yeah, I put this song as number 8 on my list. I think it's a really strong start to an album, and the way it builds really works really well. I think for me, why it's kind of mid-pack is that there's so many songs I like more for specific reasons, but it is a really good song. I really like everything that is encompasses everything, like, with the album in that song. I feel like it kind of covers multiple genres throughout it, which I really like to see.
Number 4 is Bad Friend. I really loved how this song, like, started slow. Like, it really caught my attention. And it kind of gives me, like, Billie Eilish vibes a little bit. But I love the vocal layering, especially on the chorus. I was, like, really listening to the words of this song. And I feel like because of her style, some of her music, maybe I don't focus as much on the vocals and, like, what's being said as, like, the production and, like, what's going on behind the scenes. But I love, there's a part where the song, like, drops and, like, the beat comes in and I was, like, sitting at my computer. I was, like, jamming out. But yeah, it's just, like, it's a cool song.
Yeah, so I ranked this song as number 2, and I think this is her best song. As I said, like, I had a favorite, but I think this is her best written and best produced song. The way the music works is great. I love the kind of build-up. I love the backing. I love that bridge where the chorus comes in, like, right before the last verse. And I think it's a concept that everyone can relate to. You have, like, friendships that just kind of end, and then you, like, aren't close and you don't talk, but you have, like, you know, still, like, great memories and things. And I think everyone can kind of understand that concept, and there's not really a lot of songs that kind of encompass that feeling. So I really think it's a really well written and well produced song. And I think it's her best song. And I kind of thought this was going to happen. Your top 3 were all 9 or below for me. And I kind of thought this might happen. I think I know what your number 1 song is, just knowing you. But I'm really interested to see.
This is really interesting to do because, like, you're talking about someone who knows an album versus someone who's just heard it, like, 2 weeks ago. So it is going to be, like, I feel like mine, for my artist, are going to be, like, very different than your ranking.
Right. Yeah, they definitely can be.
Number 3 is Shut the Fuck Up. If there was ever a song that I wish I could just, like, play, like, as my, like, this is my theme song to my life. I was, like, blown away when I first heard this song because I was like, am I listening to System of a Down's album? Like, all of a sudden it was like we were going almost like Scream music. But then I was like, it's like Pink vibes, like No Doubt vibes. I was not expecting it. I think that's part of the reason why it ranked so high was just, like, the surprise factor. But I think her voice is interesting because it works on so many different styles. And the chorus of the song is, like, I wrote it's very much me.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I love the part where she's, like, laughing. She's like, ah, and then she, like, hits this note, and I'm like...
Oh, yeah, she's, like, laugh singing. I love it.
Yeah, I just, like, this song is, like, my vibe. Like, I love this song. I just do.
Yeah, she actually this year released a cover of Sandman by Metallica.
Ooh.
So you have to look that up.
Yeah.
After. It's very good. So I ranked the song as number 9. I love this song. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think the reason why I have it ranked lower, though, is because it's not a song I can listen to a lot. Like, it's, like, very specific times where I'm, like, I just want to rage. But I agree, it feels very, at times it feels very Pink, very, like, Evanescence, almost a little Avril, too.
Yeah.
Like, kind of similar to, like, her new song, Bite Me. You know, it's kind of like that, like, getting back at someone kind of deal, like, shut the fuck up. But also has, like, very metal, screamo type thing. And I think it's a really well done song. And it definitely, because it's the third song on the album, it kind of just, like, it hits. And you're like, oh, like, okay. Wasn't expecting that. But yeah, it's a really good song. I really like it.
Number 2 is Akasaka Sad. Hope I said that right.
Yes.
I love this song. Like,
I knew you would like this one. I was like, this is a very Hannah song.
And it's what
it's the fifth song. Oh, sorry, it's the 5th song.
Yeah, it's like midway through.
Yeah.
I was, like, jamming out to this song. Every time I listened to the album, I was waiting for this song to come on. I really like the beat. I like it because it's this weird tempo speed where you're, like, you have to keep listening because it's, like, you think it should be faster. I love the chorus. I think the style choice is super cool. You get some Japanese mixed in this song. Like, it's just cool. It's, like, it's my vibe. I very much feel this song, like, how do I say this? It's one of those songs where, like, I feel like I could keep listening to and not get sick of.
Yeah, so I ranked this song number 13. It's last on my list. So I think the reason why, like, again, I don't think there's a bad song on this album, but out of all those songs, I think this one is the one I think of the least. I think this one is the one that doesn't catch me. Like, when I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's great, but, like, I'm never thinking about it when I've gone to listen to the album, and, like, when I'm thinking about songs, like, this one never comes up for me. So I don't know why specifically, like, this one just isn't for me. Like, it doesn't, like listening to it because I listened to it through again to rank, and then also for this, and I was like, Hannah's gonna really like this one, because I just knew that was, like, this year kind of song, but, like, for me, it just, like, doesn't hit for me, so that's why it ranked last. It's just not as memorable as some of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Number 1 is Tokyo Love Hotel. I guess this is just another song about Tokyo. Could not get that line out of my head.
Yeah.
For the whole week, like, I listened to this. It's interesting because this is one of the longest songs on the album.
Yeah.
Also, her album's, like, it goes by so quick. It's, like, 45 minutes. A lot of the songs are, like, 3 minutes, which, you know, is kind of a sweet spot. I love this song. I love how it builds. I love the chorus. I love how the chorus switches up from the verse. I love the structure. I think the structure is really cool. I think it's a really good mix of components, and the style really works for Rena as well as works for me. And, like, this is a song on the album this is the song that I think got me. Like how you said Love Me For Me was your song.
Yeah.
Like, this was the one for me where I heard this and I was like, yeah, this works.
Yeah, so I ranked this one as number 10. I think the chorus is really, really strong with this one. I think the rest of the song doesn't grab me as strong as some of the other ones though. But I really love the chorus. Like just hearing it right now, it hits. Like the chorus hits really hard. I think that works really well. But it's interesting is that's what got stuck in your head is like that specific line. Because that's never happened to me listening to this before. But I can see it. And yeah, I agree. It's a good song. Just not as strong as some of the other ones for me.
Yeah. Let me just run through my list really quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could do the same as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 13, I had the Fuck This World interlude. 12 is, what is it? Comme des Garçons?
Comme des Garçons.
Comme des Garçons.
Comme des Garçons.
Like the boys.
Like the boys.
11, Who's Gonna Save You Now? 12, Snakeskin. 9, Paradising. 8, Chosen Family. 7, Love Me For Me. 6, XS. 5, Dynasty. 4, Bad Friend. 3, Shut the Fuck Up. 2, Akasaka Sad. 1, Tokyo Love Hotel.
So for my list, at number 13 I have Akasaka Sad. 12, Fuck This World interlude. 11, Chosen Family. 10, Tokyo Love Hotel. 9, Shut the Fuck Up! Exclamation point. 8, Dynasty. 7, Paradising. 6, Snakeskin. 5, Comme des Garçons. Like the boys. 4, Who's Gonna Save You Now? 3, XS. 2, Bad Friend. And 1, Love Me For Me.
All right. So now we are moving into the artist I chose for you.
Yes.
Who is Betty Who?
Who?
Betty Who. Real name is Jessica Newham. She was born in Sydney, Australia. And she is a Australian-American singer/songwriter. She's 30 years old. So she lived in Sydney till her mid-teens, and then she moved to the U.S. in 2007 to attend the Interlochen Center for the Arts, which is near Traverse City, Michigan.
A lot of artists come out of Interlochen. I know Borns came from Interlochen. There's I knew someone who was a counselor there.
Yeah.
Like someone I knew who was in the music program. Like a lot of artists go to Interlochen. It's a really well-known musical, like camp and school and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was self-taught on piano, guitar, and cello. Her stage name actually comes from the title of a song she composed when she was 16. She went to Interlochen, and then she moved back to Australia, like, near high school. She ended up moving back to the U.S. to go to Berklee College of Music, which is in Boston, Massachusetts. She was actually in the same class as Charlie Puth. They met there. Okay. And she also met her producer, Peter Thomas. He was another student who basically became her main, like, collaborator on all her future music. He's also worked with Selena Gomez, Pink, and the band Shepherd, who's also from Australia. Her debut single, Somebody Loves You, which is on the album I chose. I should say, I never said.
I don't think you said what the album was.
Okay, so the album I chose for Alyssa is Take Me When You Go, which was Betty Who's debut album.
In 2014.
In 2014, yes. I did write that down. So she debuted her single, Somebody Loves You, and it was released independently as a free download. And it quickly gained a lot of traction. And then after that, she released an EP, which helped her get signed by RCA Records, who she signed with and released Take Me When You Go with. Since then, she's actually split with them and is actually independently making music again. So she identifies as a queer bisexual woman. She did actually I'm pretty sure she's engaged to her boyfriend, who's like a photographer. So she has 3 albums out right now at the moment. A couple of her songs have reached number 1 on the U.S. dance club songs charts. Mm-hmm. And she's done tours with Katy Perry, Panic at the Disco, Kesha, and Kylie Minogue, who's a Australian artist.
Can't get you out of my head.
Yes. And all those, I believe all of those, she was the, like their opening acts for them. And she's done her own independent tours as well since then. But yeah, that's her background.
All right.
Do you have any general feelings about the album?
Yeah, so you told me you got a kind of like a Church's vibe to it, and I can definitely see that. It is very like electro pop, synth pop, like dance hits is what it feels like. I also got a lot of like Robin, like Dancing on My Own, like that kind of feel to it as well. I had like a little bit of an Avril vibe too at times. So about this album, it's very interesting because the album I gave you is like all the songs are very, very different. And I would say that this album, a lot of the songs have a very similar feel. And I do really like the album, but I feel like because a lot of the songs are very, very similar, it was kind of hard for me to differentiate between like what song was what. Like when I was trying to like go through and rank them, like, okay, was that this song or is that this song? And then I had to go back and listen because I'm like, okay, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't gone and listened to some of her future stuff. Like I've only literally listened to this album. So I'd be curious to see like how she evolves like as the years go on, because I feel like she'll improve is my. So I think what I determined is that this sometimes this album feels like really polished, but like too polished at times. And I really liked the songs where it felt like a little bit unpolished, like were the ones that I seemed to gravitate to, just like kind of listening to it. So that would be my one complaint, is that it just feels like a little too produced, a little too polished at times, and that the songs can be a little too similar. Like separately are very good, but all together I feel like it's like too cohesive. Because I kind of I like a little bit of difference, like a little more differential. But on the whole, I did really like all the music on it.
Yeah, it's very much like you know what you're getting a couple songs in.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this song, like, I was looking up something and it's like consistently been on underrated albums of the 2010s.
Yeah.
Like that a lot of people have like, oh, I've never heard of this. I think she definitely excels in like the catchy like chorus like beats, because there are a lot of the choruses I just get stuck in my head. But yeah, I think it's definitely a solid album. Her new music, part of me wonders if that's part of the reason why she split with the record company.
Yeah.
Because she's releasing music independently again, and her latest album I've been listening to, and it's definitely like, I feel like more of what she would want to do with her sound.
Yeah.
So you should definitely listen to some of her newer stuff.
Yeah, I'm like planning to.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so for my ranking, let me figure out. So for number 13, I have California Rain. And I think what it is like this for me is a really odd choice for a final song of an album, because it's really her only song that's super, super slow, very low produced. There's not a lot going on. It's pretty much piano. Feels very like almost haunting in a way. It's really, really slow compared to a lot of the dance beats. And I feel like this was a little jarring for me. I think if maybe this had come a little earlier, like maybe the second to last song or the third to last song, maybe it wouldn't have just seemed kind of out of place where it was at. I don't think it's a bad song. I just think the placement of it, listening it in order on the album, made it not. And it's also a really long song. I think it's like 5 minutes long. It's like, 4.5 minutes long. So it's like one of the longest songs on her album too. So it just like didn't feel right for me at that place, which is why it was last, I think.
Yeah, I have it as number 6. When I first heard the album, I was the same as you. I was like, oh, this is very bizarre to do this last. It kind of catches you off guard. But the more I've listened to this album all the way through, I actually really like that she ended with it. I don't know. It's slow. It's haunting. It's kind of a song that the style I enjoy. And you kind of just get to focus on the words of the song, which I feel like for a lot of her other songs, it's very much more focused on like the beat of the song and like the chorus and all that. So I kind of like it like that, but I understand what you're saying. Like it is kind of a weird place to put it at the end. She probably could have put it like a couple towards the end.
Yeah, even like second to last, right. I think would have been fine.
And end on like a higher up song.
Yeah. So number 12, I have Missing You. I think maybe why this is lower is I think the chorus is really catchy and the beat's kind of slow, but when I was listening through, this is one I always forgot, is like the 5th song on the album, so it's pretty like early to mid-pack point in time, but like I would be like, okay, I think this one's coming next and this one, and then I would just forget this one. I'm not sure why that is specifically, But I don't think it's a bad song. I think just for me, it's not as memorable as some of the other ones and didn't like catch me as much. And I have a feeling just by the way you're looking at me, this is one of your favorite songs.
Yeah, this is my number 2.
Okay.
For me, it's like the first song on the album that I feel like mixes it up a little bit. That strays from like the
pop dance hit.
Yeah, it's slower. I think the backing vocals are cool. I think the beat's cool. And the chorus, like you said, the chorus just like works. And I can't explain why it works so well, but it just does. The song's pretty like low key, kind of like cooler vibe. Like there's some really cool vocal choices at the end of the song. It's one of those songs when I first heard it, like I really liked it, and it's one of the songs that I still to this day will put on playlists. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely like a stylistic choice though, I think. It was like the same with the other album.
So, number 11 I have Better. I think as a somber song, I like Better more than Missing You. I think just like the chorus like hits harder. I think you can kind of feel more of like the emotional like feeling. I kind of got the impression that this album is a lot about like relationships, breakups, like that kind of stuff. Breakup-y-esque song. Like I feel like I felt the emotion more with this one than with Missing You for me personally.
Yeah, Better for me is number 12. I do like the song. I just think compared to the rest of the album, it doesn't stack up for some reason. I think it's a cool song, but it just feels a bit plain, I guess, compared to the rest of her music. And I think the end's cool. There's a cool breakdown at the end. But yeah, it's just never been one of my favorite songs of hers.
So number 10, I have A Night to Remember. I think the issue I have with this one is it takes a really long time to build up. Why am I so loud?
It got really loud.
Yeah, why is my audio so loud?
It got really loud in my ear.
What the fuck? Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
I don't know. Maybe it like auto adjusted
I
the
don't
music
know.
or
All of a
something.
sudden it was like screaming at me.
So number 10, I have A Night to Remember. And so I think the song just takes like a really long time to build. Like it starts off slow all the way through the first chorus and then it like picks up to like dance hit. And I think I just don't like the structure of that build. I think it could have maybe been done a little better. But it's catchy. And it like fits that like kind of pop dance vibe that I'm here for.
Yeah, I have it as number 9. I agree with you. Pretty much everything you said. I think the back half of the song is a lot stronger than the first half.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think it took too long to get there. I almost felt like she was going for like almost like Taylor Swift vibe at the beginning where she was trying to like tell this story, but it just didn't work in that style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, it's a good song. Second half better.
Yeah. Okay. So for number 9, I have Alone Again. So I think I'm looking at my notes that I wrote. I think that I wish, based on the lyrics of the song, that the beat was a bit more somber. Oh my god. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. Why are you doing this, Audacity? Stop it. I think, based on the lyrics, I think I wish it would be more somber. It almost feels too upbeat for the subject matter, you know, like, I mean, clearly the title being Alone Again. And it's a fine song. It's just not amazing to me, so.
Yeah, it was number 13 for me. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's one of the weaker choruses, and I agree. It just, like, the words don't match the beat of the song. It's just, like, a weird vibe.
Yeah, I agree. So, number 8, I have Runaways. This song, to me, kind of feels almost Lady... God damn it. This song, to me, feels almost like Lady Gaga-esque. Born This Way, Edge of Glory. Hannah, I don't understand. Why is it doing this to me? It's never done this before. I really am very confused, Hannah. Like, I don't know what to do about this.
I can just hear the volume.
I didn't know it could even adjust itself while you were recording. This is going to be a pain to edit. Oh my god. Okay, so, yay for me. So, I don't remember. It feels very Lady Gaga-esque, like, Edge of Glory, Born This Way vibes to it. I like it. I think there are just stronger songs. But it's got that kind of like hook, that beat hook for the chorus, and I feel like the build's a lot better with this one than the previous one. So I it's like a good mid-pack song.
Yeah, I have it as number 11. It's one of the songs that I always just get lost in the mix of it, and like before I know it, it's over. And I'm like, did I listen to that song at all? I like the chorus, but I also think it's like not unique enough to go higher up on my list. But yeah, it's a good song. It just like, to me, it's one I always like mindlessly listen to.
So number 7, I have Glory Days. This is one of the songs that like I could God, is it doing it again?
Not as bad, no.
So this is one of the songs that I could remember like bits and pieces of, like would stick out to me when I was thinking about it. This song, it's interesting because I ranked this in the same ranking I ranked Paradising, from Rena's album, which I think are very, very similar songs. Like it has this like glorification of like your youth and like freedom and independence that comes with like, you know, being a teenager and figuring things out and, you know, making mistakes and stuff. It gave me like really big like, Katy Perry, like Friday Night, and like Here's to Never Growing Up, Avril Lavigne. And I like it. I think it's a good song. It's fun, but I just don't think the storytelling is as strong as like what I would want it to be, which is why I think it's a little bit lower, is because like I think I want like a better storytelling with this type of song. Like if you're going to do this type of thing, like it's got to be strong. So I think that's why it's a little bit lower.
Yeah, I put it as number 7. It's like a mid-pack song for me. It's interesting you say, because like one of her influences she cites is Katy Perry, so that makes sense. Yeah. It kind of, the beginning almost gives me like a Summer of 69 vibe.
Yeah,
like with the story aspect. But yeah, it's one of those songs that it sticks in my head a lot, the chorus at least. It's super catchy. I like how they switch up some of the bridge, like, tempo areas. But yeah, I agree with you. It's just like I'd say it's like an average song. Like, it is, to me, kind of similar to Paradising, actually, when you mention that. Where it's a good song, it gets stuck in your head, but it's like, beyond that, it doesn't do much for me.
So number 6, I have Just Like Me, which is the first song on her album. And it's interesting because this one is not what you'd expect for, like, a first song on an album. It almost feels a little different to the bulk of, like, her songs. I like it, though. It's got kind of, like, a slower start. This is the one that, like, made me really... I'm like, oh, I feel like this feels like Robin. Like, the artist Robin is where I got that kind of feel. And it's a little bit slower, but I think it works really well. And, like, the build works. And I like the transition to the chorus a lot. I think that works really well, too. But it just, like, it sounds very interesting, and it kind of, like, draws you in a way. So I think it works as a first song, but it's just, like, interesting dynamic with, like, the rest of the songs.
Yeah, I put it as number 8. It was actually the first song of hers I've ever heard before. Mm-hmm. So there's, like, a nostalgia thing there. But yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. It's kind of a weird first song to have. It feels like more of a it should have been, like, middle of the album song. But yeah, I think the backing track's cool. I loved like how she mixes softer notes with more powerful ones. I really like the chorus of it. But yeah, it's to me it's like a mid-pack song.
So number 5, I have a Heartbreak Dream. This is like breakup song pop anthem. It's really fun, and it's like not kind of what you would expect for like a breakup song. Like usually those are very slow or somber, really emotional, and this one's like very poppy and very fun, and I kind of like that. I think that works really well, you know, and the lyrics are interesting, and I like you know it's over while it's still kind of going on thing vibe that she kind of has going throughout it. And yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, we have a match. I have Heartbreak Dreams number 5 as well. I agree with pretty much everything you said. I really like the vocals on this song. I think she sounds really good on it. I think the chorus is good. I like the verses. I like the beat. And I agree with you. Like, it's a nice way to do a breakup song, because sometimes you just want to, like, vibe out to a song while not just listening to something super depressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like the quieter parts of this song. I just think it's a really solid song through and through.
So number 4, I have All of You. Loves all of me.
Loves all of you.
I feel like that title is now stolen by John Legend. This song is, I'll just read you my comment I wrote about it, is that it's very relationship heavy, but good. Like, I think it kind of encapsulates that, like, a chaotic relationship energy where it's, like, breaking up and getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, which it seems like to encapsulate, but it does it in this, like, kind of dance track. Chorus is really catchy. Beat's really catchy of this song. Works really well. I think it works good as, like, a dance hit, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I have it as number 3. I've always really liked this song. It's one of the ones that's always stuck with me. Agree. I think it has one of the strongest choruses. I think it's got a really great dance beat. I said the song just, like, throat punches you with the production, but in a good way. Yeah. It just, like, hits you. But yeah, it's a good song. It's fun. I would love to go dance to this song out at a club.
So number 3, I have High Society. Now, this is the second song on the album, and I think this should have been the first song. I think this would have been a really strong start to the album and would have worked a little better than the Just Like Me. That was number 1. I really like this one because I feel like her vocal range is very distinct in this song. She almost sounds more like Katy Perry, like vocally, than she does in a lot of her other songs. Drinking Chardonnay in the day, like that bit about the Chardonnay in the day, like, is something that, like, played on repeat for a bit from this album. And yeah, it's a really catchy song. It's not one I was expecting to be as catchy as it is. Like, I wasn't expecting to like this one as much, but the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. So
yeah, I put it as number 4. It was funny because when I remembered this song was on the album, I immediately was like, this is gonna be in Alyssa's top 3.
Yeah.
Like, because I know this is, like, a style, like, that I thought you would like. Yeah, it's got a really good, like, dance beat. Like, there's a cool build. It's super catchy. I mean, this one always gets stuck in my head. It's another great beat. Like, I think a lot of times you just get, like, lost in the song, just, like, jamming out to it. So, yeah, it's a cool song.
So, number 2, I have Dreaming About You. And this is a kind of similar thing to my ranking for the Rina for Sawayama, where I think this is the best song on the album. It's not my favorite, but I think it's the best song. This one really caught me, like, because it's the second to last song. It's number 12. So I wasn't expecting it that late in the album to be that good. And maybe that's also why I dislike California Rain so much, is because this one is, like, so, like, caught me so quick and I was, like, so into it. I think it feels a lot less polished than a lot of the other songs. Like, her vocal range, she does a lot more interesting things with it, and you can kind of feel a bit more of, like, raw, like, passion that I don't think you get in a lot of the more, like, produced hits on this album. But I think it's really, really good, and I really like the story, and the lyrics I think are really good too, like, just, like, songwriting-wise. I think this is the best song on the album, but there's one I just personally like more.
Yeah, it's interesting. I put this as number 10.
Okay.
I had a feeling you were going to have this song high because this to me is like how I ranked like The Boys with Rina's, where I feel like this song, if I was with a group of people, like, because it's like very much like a really good beat and like I would love to dance to this song, like out, like everything like that. I do agree with you though. I think it's like one of the strongest, like in terms of like a complete song, and it is a lot less polished. I think just personally, like, when I was ranking these songs, I was very much in, like, a I'm trapped inside, like, I haven't been out to a club in a while mood. Fair. So I put it lower. But, yeah, this song, like, I remember when I heard the album, too, I was like, I wish this would have been the last song.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would have ended on a high note.
I think so. So, number 1, I have Somebody Loves You. And it's interesting to know that this is actually, like, a single prior to, like, a studio album that was released first. And this just feels like if Whitney Houston made a dance hit in, like, the 2000s. Like, if she made, you know, I Want to Dance with Somebody in, like, 2010, this is what it would sound like. I can understand why it got, like, blew up in popularity when it came out. I can understand why this made her, like, brought her into the attention of, like, the music industry, because it's very fun. It's a dance anthem. Like, I wanted to dance just, like, sitting in my car. Like, when I was listening to it, I was like, yes, let's go. Like, I'm ready. I think this is my favorite song. I think Dreaming About You, I think, is a better made song, better produced and, like, written song. But this one just feels like a dance hit. Like, this one just feels like I'm out, have a drink in hand. Hopefully not a bouncer's not going to knock it out of my hand, you know, and I'm having a great time. Just belting it out, dancing is what I feel like this is. And so I feel like as an album that's like a dance, like, pop, electro pop, synth pop, like dance kind of album, I think this is the best song on it for that feel.
Yeah, it's my number one song as well. It's, to this day, still my favorite song of hers. Mm-hmm. I think it's, you basically said everything. Her vocals, like, really soar on this song. Like, the mixing, the tempo's really good. I like the verses. I think the whole song just flows really well. And, like, it's very much a song I would love to go out and dance to. I, again, put this song on a ton of playlists. Like, great song.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to run through my rankings again. Number 13, I have California Rain. 12, Missing You. 11, Better. 10, A Night to Remember. 9, Alone Again. 8, Runaways. 7, Glory Days. 6, Just Like Me. 5, Heartbreak Dream. 4, All of You. 3, High Society. 2, Dreaming About You. And 1, Somebody Loves You.
Yeah, and then I have 13, Alone Again. Better. Runaways, Dreaming About You, A Night to Remember, Just Like Me, Glory Days, California Rain, Heartbreak Dream, High Society, All of You, Missing You, and Somebody Loves You.
A lot of U's.
A lot of U's.
A lot of U's in her song tracks.
Yeah, but this was actually, like, pretty cool to do. Like, I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, it's fun because we kind of know to some extent each other's like musical tastes, like what kind of things we'll like. So it's fun to see like where our differences are. One approaching this as someone who's very familiar with the artist and has listening to a lot of their songs, and another person who's just like coming at it fresh. So it's really cool to see that.
We are next week's gonna be.
We'll see if we can pull it together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting.
Make it work, designers, as Tim Gunn would say.
Make it work. Thanks for listening. We got email, Twitter, Instagram.
No website.
Personal messenger bird, however you'd like to reach us.
Yeah, just don't send feet pics.
Still no feet pics. But yeah. Bye.
Bye.
We would like to thank Joseph McDade for our intro music. He provides free music available for all kinds of creative use. The song that we used is called Sunrise Expedition, and you can find it and his other music on his website, josephmcdade.com. If you would like to reach us, you can email us at r3podcasts@gmail.com. That's R, the number 3, podcasts@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Instagram by searching Research Rank Repeat.